Welcome, whippersnappers, to the Autopian Podcast, Season 2. If Episode 1 of the Autopian Podcast felt like it ended abruptly, that's because it did. This is Part 2.
I haven't heard these, so let's air out this dirty laundry.
I don't want to tattle, but
I want to hear.
I do know there's the graphic arts team is in the same office, and they have a big. I'm someone who has a background in graphic art and design, and I remember these big paste-up boards, like these big work tables with
grids on them.
Yeah, you have to have grids, and you're putting documents together, X-Actos, you're cutting things, and one of the key things you want to have is they shouldn't be filthy. They shouldn't have a bunch of there's sterile areas. They shouldn't have a bunch of grime and grit, and it shouldn't be like you took like a mop through a junkyard and then just emptied it out, just shook it over the table. You shouldn't have that.
I agree.
And somehow they appeared to have just that. They appeared to be like maybe a meteor impacted above it and just crumbled.
It wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad. It was.
But you got a note, didn't you, David?
There was some dirt on the half. I was dismantling some half doors to have them repainted. And it was late at night, and
dismantling.
And I took them out, and there was a bunch of dust in the half doors.
Dust.
It was like
feels
it was
generous.
It was from the desert, so there was a bunch of sand in it.
That's not dust.
It's sand.
I just picture
Sand is
everybody in the
different
office, cleaning their keyboard with their little air thing and being all careful to keep everything nice. And David walks in with his door and plunks it down and just starts ripping it apart.
It's got sand. It's not dust.
That's pretty accurate, your description there,
Yeah. Pebbles.
So there was some sand on there, and I returned the next morning.
This isn't Zen Garden sand either.
No, there was not a miniature rake or anything.
Okay.
And nobody minded. It was totally fine. That's the end of the story.
What are you basing the nobody minded part on? A note? You're not basing it on the note.
The note was mostly. There were a few exclamation marks and a couple underlines, but it was fine.
That's just that eventually got cleaned up. You got an angry note. You still need to buy the woman who runs that thing a box of donuts or something.
We brought donuts. Everything's fine.
To her specifically? No, you need to go back to
and now we're seeing some video.
Yeah, to the video. So David
David
got super into this rear spare tire carrier for his YJ. He believes this is a very valuable thing.
This is not for the YJ. This is for Grand Cherokee.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, for the Grand Cherokee.
Don't say I believe it. This is a holy grail of tire carriers for a ZJ. Yeah. There are maybe 20 of those in the world left.
Sure, the Sistine Chapel of spare tire carriers. David finally got access to, and because he can't just leave this outside, this piece of thing that's designed to be outside, he's got it inside.
That's too valuable.
He's got it inside the offices here, and it's not like it's a small thing,
but it's an art piece, I think.
Yeah,
they had to put cones around it.
They put cones around it because it's a big sharp piece.
It's not sharp. That's not true. It's safe.
It's not that safe. If you hit it's at shin level, and it's it's like
you can hit your shin on it. I'll give you that.
Yeah, it's pretty heavy metal. If you were to fall on this thing, it would be no fun at all. And it's not like it's tiny. And apparently, it's in the office. And apparently, there's people not crazy that a good chunk of the floor space of the office is being taken
So David's still getting used to being with other humans.
Yeah, it's a transition.
Yeah,
it's true.
Fast.
It's a big change from just being in a house in suburban Detroit. So, we're getting there.
It is.
So is your office starting to look like your house did?
His office 100% looks like his house did.
Oh, no.
You should check out my office, actually. You know what? Bo, checking out my office.
I kind of don't want to.
The office is... David's office, if you break up the volume of space, it is 82% old car parts, and then there's a small channel where a human hypothetically could go inside, sit, and work at a small area of desk.
And a lamp?
Yeah.
Well, at least you live it, man. I'll give you that. So.
He does walk the walk.
Good.
David.
Yeah,
and at least the office is got a door that can close and it's contained.
And let me just point out, a lot of
the smell.
The smell's fine.
Apparently he never works in the office. From what I'm told, is he works everywhere but his office.
Well, he works on his car in the office. Yeah, just not on the Autopian.
Yeah, he works on his car in the office, and then everywhere else. Yeah, I guess he gets in everybody else's space.
And then he works on the Autopian in his car.
I think the smell's fine. But I will.
No one brought up smell. I don't even know why that came up, which means something's wrong.
Wait, did someone?
No,
I did ask about the smell.
Oh, okay.
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 You haven't heard anything from anybody? No? Okay.
No.
All right.
I'm just thinking about
I will just note that it's not just a lot of people at Galpin walk the walk when it comes to cars.
Oh yeah,
a lot of people.
That parking lot. Who was the dude in the old Chevy with the bull horns on it and the chain steering wheel? I love that thing. Have you seen that out there? Do you know what I'm talking about?
No.
I regularly run into Galpin employees who are either wrenching or they drive something cool, and it's
good.
great.
There is we should also mention we've been kind of ragging on David a little, but he has done some things in the office area that are genuinely altruistic, especially for the feline community. Because I'm told his ZJ, strays? He's not feeding them, but he's made his ZJ available as a sort of flop house / maybe brothel for the local cat population that are living
not
in there.
Well, a lot of cats here.
Apparently. And how many did you find living in your ZJ?
Well, there's one.
Yeah.
And actually, we actually had a like one of those hunting cameras where you can like spot,
Oh, really? To spot.
So we have actually footage of the cat, and it's all up in my Jeep. It's not great.
How did it get in?
Through the transmission tunnel. Honestly, cats, they're incredible.
This is that AMC quality.
No, it reminds me of the Bob Lutz quote about.
Do you know about this Bob Lutz quote?
I think we might have mentioned this before.
I like this one. You could say it again. I just like this.
I was at a Chrysler. It was like a young professionals event, and Bob Lutz was the keynote speaker, and he said that in Japan, to check the quality of their cars, they'd put a cat in their car and close all the doors, and if the next morning the cat was so sleepy because of lack of air, it was a good quality car. He said that at GM, they were like, okay, we'll do that. And they put a cat in their car, shut all the doors, and the next morning it was gone.
Yeah, of course.
So I think it's basically the same
thing. That's good.
Yeah. Did you name the cat?
Oh, I know, I haven't yet.
You should name him. What's a name that has ZJ in it? Zed James.
Anyway.
Zanjeef. There's a lot of names. Or Cherokee. Well, is it a Grand Cherokee, right?
Yep.
Sequoia, like the famous Cherokee who came up with their language. You know Sequoia, for whom the tree.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Cherokee syllabary. Wake up, David.
Yep.
Well, what else we got going on? Come on, we got an exciting season here in front of us. Exciting year here in front of us.
We have a big car show coming up in October.
We do.
Yeah.
We're doing the ninth almost annual Galpin Car Show and Autopian Car Show.
It's going to be big.
So October 15th, Sunday, it'll be big.
This is going to be great.
It's going to be like 10 car shows in one.
Yeah.
It's going to be nuts. So
all these are always good. And you got last time we were here, there's whole groups that like prepare and bring their whole club out to these shows.
We get several clubs. The Mustang Club and the Edsel Club come out, but we have exotic car. Everything from exotic cars. We have a lowrider club that comes out and does hops. We get the hot rod clubs and every kind of walk of life. We've got a JDM class, a VW class. We're going to do EV class this year.
That's fun.
And of course, an Autopian class.
That'll be great.
I call them classes, not that we're doing anything judging or any of that. Just
it's okay.
Just a good old
categories. Time. Yeah, it's fun.
I think we want to do like a people's choice this year. I think that's always a good one. That's what we should do. Maybe we should do it by categories there too. We'll do a people's choice by each one.
I think that's smart. I like that.
Come up with some big goofy trophy or something like that. That'd be fun. So looking forward to that.
That's gonna be awesome.
And there was the big show at Porsche Santa Clarita where we had kind of an Autopian meetup, and I want to mention we got to drive the Berkeley around a bunch,
which was great,
which was fantastic. We're gonna have a full video of the Berkeley driving experience coming soon. But this thing is tiny. And
what is a Berkeley
fun.
for our listeners who can't see this incredible?
We can't. Oh yeah, true. So Berkeley was if. Back in the day, if you thought you'd like an MG, like a small MG or a Triumph Spitfire, but they just felt like too much car.
Way too big,
way too much money. You thought,
too much power.
I can't handle all that. Then the Berkeley was what you got. It's a microcar, but a microcar made to be fun as opposed to a desperation vehicle just to get you where you're going. And it's got a little 2-cylinder air-cooled 328cc engine, makes about 19 horsepower, and it's just a blast to drive.
It was, although the pedals are so close together, it's kind of freaky if you're not wearing the right shoes.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah, the pedal confusion is real because they're like, centimeters from each other. Yeah. But once you get used to it, it's fun. I thought I was going a lot faster in it. I could have sworn I was hitting 40 or 50. And
it was 4 or 5.
Yeah, I think it was about that. It was not fast. But, that thing was a blast. So that'll be fun. We got more videos coming soon. We've been doing a lot this year. I mean, we've been busy.
We have been. We haven't been sitting on our ass. And dude, you guys are growing the site like crazy. It's brilliant.
Shoot. So there have been some big stories over the last 6 months. The biggest one ever, was about actually a Ford F-150 related story. And it's the story about the Ford offering a factory-backed supercharger on the Coyote engines.
700 horsepower.
That's a lot. In a regular F-150, right?
Yeah.
That's pretty bonkers.
That is our most read story ever.
Yeah,
we got to get one.
Yeah, we do have. Yeah. Now you're saying the California law says you can't just order it with the supercharger.
So we have to. The car has to roll over the curb and install it for a customer. We can't just install it in a stock unit.
So there's like a literal has to roll out of
physically go over the. They have to buy the car.
They have to
do
drive
the paperwork
and
drive it over the curb. Then we can install a supercharger.
So that means if you get a customer who says I want this and I want it with the supercharger, pay for everything, they have to drive it out and then like circle the block and come back before you can do it.
Well, we can put it in the price, so we can put all that in there, but we can't install it until they've driven it.
Someone has to actually drive it at least a little. That's amazing. It's so ritualistic and like almost superstitious. It's like,
boy, that's a good way of putting it, actually. But
it's like you're doing an incantation or something.
And these are the carb legal units too.
Wow.
Because we're very restricted in what we can do here in California.
So why can't you just sell it with the supercharger? Why does it have to go through all that?
You'll have to ask ask Carb, but they've got their reasons. I'm not quite sure on that one.
Yeah, I assume it's just some way to make sure that automakers don't get around carb certification.
Right.
Otherwise they would just the stock car would be, they would just have powerful cars that would otherwise not get through carb. Because I don't know.
But these are carb.
These are carb certified.
Yes, and they have to get them tested and approved, and the carb sticker and everything like that.
Oh, okay, really? Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah. Well, I guess
But we still can't install it on a new vehicle.
It would have to pass smog, right? Yeah. Huh.
So
in any case, we might be seeing like work truck looking F-150s that look innocuous. And then at the stoplight, they just haul. And I think that's why people really like that story so much.
You got to build one of those.
There's just something about an underdog. It's like, okay, if it's an F-150 Raptor R, very cool, no doubt. But everybody knows that thing's going to rip.
Yep.
But a vinyl floor, regular cab, long bed F-150 work truck.
You could put it in a work truck spec, right? There's no reason you could get the base model one. Yeah. That's
the idea that any F-150 around you could have a 700 horsepower V8 in it is kind of dope.
That's cool.
Yeah. That's exciting. So that was a big story. What else we got? What else was huge that we've been talking about this past? Can I talk about what I want to talk about?
Actually, hold on.
Okay.
Well, actually, you probably do want to. This is probably what you want to talk about. One of our biggest stories was about a car company whose vehicles were recycled cars from junkyards.
Oh, yeah.
That was one of our biggest stories.
Remember this?
Completely bizarre.
Isn't that strange? So Powell was a truck company in the late 40s, I think they started, and their business model was there was a particular year of Plymouth that they would drag out of the junkyard, clean it up, take all the crap off it, salvage what they could, and then build a truck on that chassis and sell it as new. But that was the business model. That was how they did every single truck they built. And they were kind of cool trucks. They had these tubes that you could order in the back if you had like a fishing pole or like a javelin or something that would like out of the sides of the bed, you would like slide out like a huge cylindrical drawer. And they sold a bunch of these. Like
I can't even comprehend.
Can you imagine that today? Like if like Rivian said, okay, instead of building cars like we do now, we're going to buy old Crown Vic chassis and we're going to clean them up really well, but that's the basis for all of our new trucks. Like nobody would believe it.
That's insane.
It is insane. It's bonkers.
Even back then, that's insane.
I think it was kind of bonkers back then. But their goal was
how many did they build?
There's a registry that has the number of them. I think it was in few hundreds of them, and I think they're still surviving. But the goal was they wanted to make a sub $1,000 truck, and I think if you translate to modern money, it's still pretty jam cheap. It'd be like a sub $10,000 thing now, and they did it though. Like they did it because they were able to build and sell these things so cheap because the entire engineering of the chassis and all that stuff and the motors and all that was done by someone else. And they did a good job of cleaning them, I'm told. They had a factory. Crazy. And I was told by the Leslie over at the Peterson, the curator, Leslie Kendall, he said it had like a moving assembly line, but you measured it in terms of like days or even weeks as opposed to like how many hours. Yeah. But I don't know. I think it's an amazing idea. And, like David's i3, they talk about the upcycling of materials in it, and it's got like recycled plastics and things like that. That can't hold a candle to dudes just dragging
the whole car.
Dead cars. Yeah. It's amazing. Exciting stuff.
Yeah. I think, we are sort of going to get to the end of this podcast here in a sec. I think it would not make a whole lot of sense for us to talk about, sort of give an update of the last 6 months without mentioning that the car world lost a giant.
Yeah.
In your dad, Beau, and
thank you.
And I was privileged enough to go to the celebration of life, and
I saw a video of that, and it was so many people. It was just the whole street was lined up. It was amazing.
And we had a really wonderful thing, and thank you, by the way. And it was a beautiful memorial, and Henry Ford III flew out to speak there, and Elena Ford, and a lot of the top people at Ford. And I obviously got a lot of calls and support from Jim Farley and Alan Mullally, and just this amazing outpouring of love. But thank you guys. And he was an incredible man, and for those of you who don't know, he ended up in the car business by accident. What
was he doing before?
So he was going to USC. He was very young. Oh, yeah. He was had a family, married with 2 very young children, babies. Was working graveyard shift at Lockheed because he could work for 6 hours and get paid for 8. Oh, wow. And I don't know how he studied and had a life in between all of that, but he was also in ROTC because he was going to go into the Army afterwards. And he got drafted, but it was a mistake. So he dropped out of school and quit Lockheed. And a friend said, hey, what if we sell some cars? We can make some fast money before you get shipped off. So that's what he started doing. And they found out it was a mistake. He wasn't really drafted. But he was already now in the car business selling Nashes in Glendale. Wow. And Peter DePaulo's Nash Glendale. And then he moved over to Galpin Ford in 1953 and then worked his way up in the company. So he was the most honest man I've ever known in an industry and a business that earned its horrible reputation. And when he would talk about some of the dealings that were going on when he first got there, I mean, shit we wouldn't even imagine. Like they would actually have customers sign blank contracts.
Whoa.
They would agree to numbers, and then the managers would put in whatever numbers they wanted and then stuff them in the glove box. And then he would say, like, whenever customers would come back, like, everyone would freak out and hide in the bathroom because they all thought they were coming back because they got ripped off. But a lot of times they were just coming back to look for a car, and that's when he would sell them a car. So when Nash got just shut off, he said, when Ford and GM started discounting, which meant that from 1946 to 1953, supply had not yet met demand from World War II, which was kind of interesting. It just finally clicked with me after the pandemic and all the things that we've gone through. It's the most similar time since World War II. But Dad came over to Galpin Ford and was a salesperson and really just focused on honestly taking care of his customers with integrity and doing the best for them and wanting to earn their business for life, and their friends and family feel comfortable referring and come back for business. And in fact, one of his customers that he sold in 1953, his family's still buying cars from us.
Wow. Lou Gill. Galpin became the biggest Ford dealer in the world without really doing much advertising, right?
No, we didn't build it on advertising. It was built on word of mouth and people exactly that.
That's wild to think about.
Repeat and referral business. Repeat, referral, and reputation were like 96% of our business. But that's how it was built, was like on this very solid foundation of taking care of people and doing things the right way. And he grew from, when he took over Galpin, it was out of trust, which means they couldn't pay their bills and were in big trouble, to the number one Ford dealership in the world. And he also just loved people. He wasn't really into cars as much as just people and taking care of them. But he loved creativity and letting people do things and have fun. So they knew they could have fun with cars without getting in trouble, and that kind of birthed galvanizing and a lot of the creativity that we see. So a lot of the
Rumble seat
Mustangs and the first sunroof installed, and the conversion van industry and off-road craze all grew out of Galpin, and that grew out of just listening to customers and our employees and wanting to build and do cool things and build cool things, and we did, and that's what gave us our reputation today, and where I got my passion in life for cars and all this craziness. So
that's amazing.
So he was an amazing man, and when him and my mom met, they really just took off together, and she was also very much on the creative side with him, and they had a lot of fun together and really built a beautiful business together. So I'm honored that I get to continue it, and it was a tough time, but we lost Mom 2 years ago, and Dad on the second anniversary of Mom's passing. So
wow.
It was a bit poetic, and quite frankly, them being back together again is what gives us peace and joy. So thank you. I appreciate that, and it was, like I said, an incredible outpouring. And actually, Jeff Scobin had this brilliant idea, because my dad would always drive by Galpin, even when we were closed or on Christmas. So he said, well, why don't we bring Bert by one more time? So we actually brought him by in the hearse, and all of the employees came out, and we shut down Roscoe Boulevard, and the LAPD did this. Oh, it was crazy. We had, over 1,000 people out there. And
I talked to a few of them. I took a couple notes because
cool.
We're gonna write a story on Bert, and there's still some video assets being made, and I want to make sure that all of that can be put in there. I talked to some of the folks. Some had been technicians here for 25 years.
Oh yeah,
and they were emotional. It was that was an incredible last ride there.
Well, he helped out a lot of people, and that's what I would hear constantly was, your dad didn't know me, or he didn't, but he met with me anyway, and he gave me this advice or did these things for me that changed my life. And I kept getting story after story that I'd never even heard before, but things that he just did to help people, and from his heart, not with any wanting anything in return. And that's why he was. He got back what he gave. You get what you give, and he gave out a lot of love, and you could see it come back.
And at the celebration of life, you said someone from the Ford family was there, right?
Henry Ford III spoke.
Ford III. Yeah. His joke was pretty good.
The
joke about he said that he and some of his friends a while ago were talking about whether or not God drove a Ford. Kind of as a joke, They talked about it, and they were like, he probably doesn't. I mean, it's heaven, you don't need to. And then
public transit up there,
right? Yeah. And then now that Beau is with them, for sure, God drives a Ford.
He's driving a Ford now, for sure.
I thought that was a solid joke.
Absolutely,
yeah, it was pretty good.
And Henry's amazing. He worked here for a period of time, and I'll tell you, all of the employees loved him because he worked so hard, was so humble, genuine. He was there to learn, and he did, but he busted his ass doing it.
Wow.
Worked on holidays, weekends, never acted like he was better than anyone else. We just love him. And the Ford family, they're amazing people, good people. So so it was a wonderful celebration, and we were really honored that he came by. So thank you for that.
Wow.
Yes, a lot has happened. A lot has happened in the last 6 months since season 1, and a
lot of good things coming up that are happening as well. So
a lot of great things. This podcast is going to get exciting. We've got another season coming, and a lot of car stuff. If you're a car fan. We got
a great special guest for our next episode, which Rod Emery.
Yep, that's going to be good.
We're really excited to talk with him about Porsches and Outlaws and
those
all
are gonna
kinds
be fun.
of cool stuff.
And we got plans, big plans for doing all kinds of things in video and stories and all of your favorite writers, and Mercedes and Thomas, and everybody's going to be
more events,
doing more
get-togethers. Autopian's going big, I tell you.
That's right.
This is phase 2 Autopian, so
get ready. Thanks a lot thanks a lot for listening to season 2. Let's go.
You can find all these podcasts and some really wonderful articles you can't get anywhere else on www.theautopian.com. And P.S., if you love what we do here, you can become a vinyl velour or rich Corinthian leather member of The Autopian by going to theautopian.com and clicking the button that says support us, because as these podcasts are probably demonstrating, we need all the help we can get.